Hello ma'am, good morning. I am Rhoda Bautista Malong.
And I'm Melvin Diding Lasan. We are going to report the digital self.
Digital self, categorized as who we are or who we feel ourselves.
The amount of time these adolescents spend online can have both positive and negative outcomes.
In other words, people nowadays, especially teenagers, are spending more time with their gadgets.
Ang digital self binubuo ng 7 kategory na self and other in cyberspace, I, me, myself, and my user ID online identity, self-presentation, strategies, and impression management, impact of online interaction on the self, boundaries of the self online, personal or individual versus social identity online, gender and sexuality online. What statistics say? Philippines is the fastest growing market of smartphone in the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, based on the report of a market research company, International Data Corporation. Another report indicated that about 3.5 million smartphones were shipped to the country during first quarter of 2016.
Currently, about 30% of all Filipinos are smartphones user, and that is projected in increase in the next year.
Statistics from Western countries showed that in 2012, 78% of online teens own a cell phone, 8 out of 10 teens own a desktop laptop, 23% of teens have tablet computer, and 50% send to 50 or more text message a day. Americans between the age of 8 and 18 years spend average on 7.5 hours per day using some sort of electronic device, and 95% of them have access to internet as reported by Pew. Digital literacy, defined as those capabilities possessed by individuals who are living, learning, and working in a digital society.
Digital literacy refers to an individual's ability to find, evaluate, and compose clear information through writing and other media. The best example of this is the newscaster. They are the one who gather information. There's two types of digital literacy: the online disinhibition, and two categories on online disinhibition.
The lack of restraint one feels when communicating online in comparison to communicating in person. This could have both positive and negative effects.
This slide say that lack of restraint one feels when communicating online in comparison to communicating in person.
Two categories of online disinhibition. The one is benign disinhibition.
This refers to positive manifestation as benign disinhibition. This include efforts to improve self-understanding and personal improvement.
And another one is toxic disinhibition.
Toxic disinhibition, which represents an increased tendency towards online blaming and inappropriate behaviors.
Benign disinhibition. On the benign side, the disinhibition indicates an attempt to understand and explore oneself, to work through problems and find new way of being.
Toxic disinhibition. Disinhibition can be ugly. People have witnessed rude language, harsh criticism, anger, hatred, even threats online. Others may even to go the dark side of internet, where they can access pornography, crimes, and other forms of violence. People tend to go to virtual spaces which they are not supposed to explore.
Cyberbullying, cyber harassment, managing online disinhibition. One is don't post or send anything you would be embarrassed for certain other to see. 2. Do be careful about oversharing. 3. Don't hang out with the wrong crowd online. 4. Don't hang out with the wrong crowd offline. 5. Do consider emotional state before virtually posting or responding to anything. 6. Do consider the reaction individuals are expecting from toxic disinhibition. And 7. Do search for yourself online.
Cyberbullying and cyber harassment is a form of bullying or harassment using electronic means. These are two also known as online bullying.
Digital identity. The term digital identity refers to anything that describes a person and an individual presence across all the digital spaces that he or she is represented in. Symbolic markers express one identity to others and help them make sense of it themselves.
A digital identity is information on an entity used by computer system to represent an external agent. In relation to identity, Internet disembodiment refers to identity, soul, or spirit separate from physical body. According to Turkel 1995, on the Internet, people can be whoever they want to be. They can completely redefine themselves if they want. People don't look at bodies or hear the access for them to make assumptions. All they see are the words, what goes online stays online. They are permanent digital footprints. User ID lets a person associate a persistent ID for a single user with that user's engagement data from one or more sessions initiated from one or more devices. Username is also called log-on name, which is unique sequence of character used to identify a user and allow access to a computer system, computer network, or online account.
Dissociative imagination. For them, identity online is just a game. How people act in a fantasy game is not always how people act in the real world. Solipsistic introjection. A notion thought is only in their heads or mind when people don't know what a virtual person looks or sounds like. People tend to assign traits to those individuals, which is an imaginary interaction with the introjected character. Dissociative anonymity also plays a role for online users. People don't have to own their behavior by acknowledging it within the full context of they really are.
Self-presentation is a range of strategies that people adopt to shape what others think of them. Self-promotion. The person who is using self-promotion is trying to show that he or she is ano? Putang. Competent, effective, or a winner. Number 2. Ingratation. The person is using ingratitude is presenting oneself to others, has a desire to be likable, will expect affection. Exemplification. The person who is exemplification has an intention to achieve worth from others. He or she expects others to feel guilty by their actions.
Intimidation. The person who is using intimidation tries to appear dangerous or ruthless. He or she expects others to be afraid of them. Supplication. The person using supplication would like to appear helpless, handicapped, or unfortunate. He or she aims to achieve nurturance from others.
Self-presentation is, for example, a people adopt to shape what others think of them.
Self-enhancement refers to the tendency to think oneself in favorable light, whereas impression management refers to a deliberate attempt to distort one's response in order to create a favorable impression with others. The development of the person's social aspect can be greatly influenced by technology to an insufficient amount of real-life social encounters. Based on analysis of teenagers' online experience, showed that others on the internet constitute a distinctive looking glass that produces a digital self that differs from the self formed offline. While online, a person's status in face-to-face world may not be known to others and may not have that much of an impact. Abuse of technology always leads to negative consequences, even if there are cases when social media negatively impacts users. It would be unfair if only the technology would be blamed. Personal boundaries are the set of guidelines, rules, or limits that a person creates to identify reasonable, safe, and permissible ways for people to behave towards them and how they respond in case someone breaks these rules or overstep the limits. Asynchronicity, it allows a person to think more carefully about what he or she would like to say before posting, which could help when someone has trouble with face-to-face interaction. In many online environments, people cannot see others. Nobody can judge the statement and image because of the cloak of invisibility. In the public mode, the post will be treated as open book. Because of security, many online users are using the private mode. Invisibility is also gauged to misinterpret oneself. A man may represent himself as a woman and vice versa. Social identity is usually based on group affiliation. Like on social media, many people identify themselves as a member of a certain group so that it will be easy for them to communicate their concern and issues. But there is a paradigm shift with regards to identify. In the modern era, Enlightenment pre-20th century, identity is described as fixed, stable, and unitary. In the postmodern period, identity is considered as fluid, multiple, and socially constructed.
In sociology, identity theory, Stryker 1980 explained that individuals have role identities. It is the character and the role of individual devices as an occupant of a particular social position. Self is a hierarchical ordering of identities by silence. The greater the commitment on identity, the greater the silence of the identity. Silence of identity influences behavioral choices in a situation.
Gender intensification hypothesis states that psychological and behavioral differences between boys and girls become greater during early adolescence because of increased socialization, pressure to conform to masculine and feminine gender roles. And that's
That's
all.
all.
Thank
Thank you.
you.